Hello again. We're here doing our recipe examples. On the last video you saw us making bean makhani. What's better to go with a nice curry than naan bread, so we're working on that next. But while we're here, as I mentioned before, we have a menu that we work to each week, and this being Thursday we are doing the bean makhani, which we've already made, and naan breads. To see these menus and recipes and other videos as we make them, you go to Facebook, The Food Group, which is TheFoodGrp. Okay. Right. So to make the naans, we have 150 ml of full fat milk, 2 tablespoons of ordinary plain white sugar, and a tablespoon of dried yeast. The milk I stuck in the microwave for 30 seconds to bring it up to blood temperature, and that's when you stick your finger in and can't actually feel the temperature. Then we have 150 ml of plain yoghurt, Greek yoghurt in this case, but any yoghurt will do. We need some vegetable oil, an egg, salt, baking powder, sugar we've got in there, and quite obviously flour. The final ingredient, which is not used till right at the end, is the ghee. So to start this, the very start obviously is you put the milk, sugar and yeast into a jug and you let it start going till it's like that. It's going all nice and frothy. So let's stir. And in here, I'm going to just sift the teaspoon of baking powder on top of the flour, and a teaspoon of salt. All them on there. We sift them. This flour in particular I've needed to sift because I got it in a vacuum pack, and when I opened the vacuum pack, it was lumpy. It was just because it had been vacuum packed and sort of squashed together. It does have, I'm not sure whether it gets any more air into whatever you're making, but as you can see there, they're the kind of lumps that I've been getting. So just push them through.
Make sure you've washed your hands before you do this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, obviously. It goes without saying, wash your hands before you start anything. Okay. So then, in the yogurt, you can do the next stage by putting in bits in bit by bit, but I prefer to mix it all together. So you mix 1 egg with the yogurt, and 2 tablespoonfuls of vegetable oil. In this case I'm using British rapeseed oil, but groundnut oil, any oil that doesn't have a definite flavour is fine for this. I wouldn't go using olive oil or anything like that. If you were making Peshwari naans, which are the coconut and fruit ones, then you'd get away with using coconut oil because you'd be expecting a coconut flavour, but any others it might not work. In this case we're just making plain naans today. So that then goes into the bowl with all the flour. Sorry. That does all the milk and milk, yeast and sugar mix. All in. And then it's just like making any other bread really. You mix everything together. Sometimes if I'm feeling really lazy, this is the point where I'll get the mixer out with the dough hook. Other times I'll just get my hands in there. dry hand to do. You see, it's quite a sticky dough. It's not dry. It's somewhere. You're expecting somewhere between a bread dough and a focaccia dough. It's going to stick to your hands. As you knead it more, it should dry out a bit. If it gets too sticky, like I think this is possibly a bit too sticky, you can add a bit more flour. At this point, I'll just ask Izzy to get a little bit of flour out of the pantry for me.
That one?
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want the sieve?
No,
Do you want the sieve?
no, I just need to be able to do that.
There's a little bit on the chopping board.
You basically want it so it's not sticking to absolutely everything, but it doesn't want to be totally dry. That's about where we want to be.
Can we see it?
Like that.
Let me just see it. Cool.
Okay. And at this point, what we should do, just taking it out of that bowl, a little bit of oil in there, and just round the edges so it doesn't stick. Put it back in there. Wash hands. Right. So what we do now is place that, put a tea towel over it or a piece of cling film, and leave it in a warm place for an hour or so. As we know, we have a magic steam oven.
Magic.
Or, I should say steam generated oven, which has the dough proving program on it. Just the extra water that I had in the jug there. What this does is it takes it up to 40 degrees, produces steam, and it rises the dough. It takes about half an hour. So speeds things up a bit. And there's steam coming out there. We do a clean up and wait for that to do, and then we do our next bit. And we're back with the naan breads. After a half an hour in the steam generator oven proving, they come out looking like that, or about an hour. So if we put in the lights. Now at this point what we do is we go to our normal oven. We have a pizza stone in, and we set the oven to 245 degrees. And let that warm. Now, whilst that's doing that, a bit of flour on the worktop here. Get the dough out of the bowl. Just work it a little bit. Remember, it's still a bit damp. You don't want to be using too much flour on it, otherwise it gets to a point it's not particularly good. You end up with quite flat, heavy naans. So, I want it looking something like that, because your next step is to take a knife, stay there. And this amount should make roughly about 6 naans. So we're going half, run roughly intervals for now. Same with that one. I'm never any good with these in getting them even sizes. I always end up with one or several really huge ones and one or several really small ones. That's just the way it goes.
The big ones.
This is just saying sheets big ones, sheets them all, leave them laid about and they get eaten. They go very quickly. So the other thing you'll have noticed on the worktop here is the tin of ghee. Right? If you haven't got ghee or can't get ghee, then normal butter's fine. Ghee is, as you may know, just clarified butter. What they do is they take the butter, heat it in a pan, skim off the impurities that come to the surface, and you get nice, clear, clarified butter. In the middle you get bits that sink to the bottom as well. Okay. So what we're going to do with that, bless you.
Sorry.
As we take a bowl and a brush, and me making a lot of noise, I'll edit this bit out. And a cooling rack. Now you don't need a cooling rack big enough for all of your naans, because we'll do them one at a time in the oven when the oven gets up to temperature. I'll show you what I mean in a second. But we take a couple of spoonfuls . We take a couple of spoonfuls of ghee. So you can maybe see there, it's just been stood on the worktop and it's already melting. It's not a particularly warm day, it's only about 16-17 degrees centigrade in here, and it's already melting. So we'll let's put that in there, and that's used to, once we've made the naans and cooked them, they get a brushing of that whilst they're still hot and straight out of the oven. Yeah. So what I can start doing here, start rolling. If I was really professional, I'd probably do these by hand, but you know what, life's too short. Start them by hand. Rolling pin. You want them about the size of a side plate. You're making 6. That's all. Each one should be about like that. Okay. And just do one at a time. So we've rolled out the naans, nice and thin like that, and the oven's ready. Again, remember it's got the pizza stone in, so we just take them, slap the naan on the pizza stone, leave it for 5 minutes. At that point, we start rolling out the next one. So this is what they look like when they come out the oven, nicely fluffed up and brown, a bit darker in some places than others, and smelling absolutely gorgeous. But just to make them extra good, the ghee I was talking about earlier, just take some of that, melt it and brush it over. If you haven't got ghee, then just ordinary butter melted. Probably might be best with unsalted rather than salted, but most supermarkets sell it now anyway. And just like that, and the smell is just out of the world.
Right, so going back to the pizza stone, what does someone do if they don't have a pizza stone?
If you've not got a pizza stone, then what I would do is you just get a normal baking sheet and put it in the oven upside down when you turn the oven on, so that it's heating up. The whole point is that you're not putting the naan into the oven on a cold baking sheet or whatever. You're putting it onto something hot, which makes it start bubbling up straight away.
Okay. Look at that pillow of an naan.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, these are the others. Pillow.